her turn. Well, a little bit too much brown sugar. That's why last night I was like, I'll just treat it as a spice, but what I probably should do is make like a new batch of the sauce, but make it obviously without brown sugar and maple syrup. So like at the Asian restaurants, their broccoli always looks so good when it's like drenched in that red sauce. That sticky sweet red sauce. Damn. If you put like 2 tortillas in a skillet, while that one is like cooking, while the one is like cooking with oil, and it's like sandwiched in a sense, like on top of the first one or last one, whatever you want to say. Some of the times they would get like steamed together, where like I would go to try to separate them and they like wouldn't separate. So like it'd be fun to, like if you were doing like a Mexican restaurant or whatever, and then you could be like, okay, so like what could I put in between those tortillas? And it's like you could like saute like jalapenos, onions, a little bit of garlic maybe, and like some maple syrup and some lime juice, and then like put like a few drops or whatever of that sauce in between those sandwiches. Then last night I was like, I'm gonna crawl tomorrow. Like I'm just gonna do it as like a statement of my life. So like I just went outside and found that opportunity and took it and crawled. And the world didn't end. And I did it for God. I wonder if anyone like on YouTube that watches, if they're like in, watching, and it's like, oh my God, I just feel like she's asking for help right now. And it's like, or he's asking for help right now. And it's like, I just can't help you. But like, I'm actually in like a very odd position. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I wish God would just fucking, but it's like, really, God, I guess, allows Satan to do certain things in people's lives. So it would, I'm sure Satan and God have like this pact in a sense where God can't just be like, message you and be like, hi, it's God. This is what's going on right now. And like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, I guess you just have to, like, don't ever let someone steal your common sense. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how things are looking or whatever it is, like, the stuff that made sense to you, like, as a 5-year-old and as a 10-year-old and as a 15-year-old and as a 20-year-old, like, I don't think there's ever going to be a point where it's like, okay, well, at 30 years old, there is a meteor shower and things change and there's a new type of common sense. And it's just like, I just don't think that. So I guess that's like my message to people that are watching me right now. It's like, just don't lose your, like, it's not really your common sense either. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's the common sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really ever have to think too much about what common sense is. Just, it's common sense. Like, it's not going to change. some people just get so personal in their own, like, you know what I'm saying, situation and shit. And it turns into like this weird thing probably, but it's just like, just, you know, like the outer things right now that are like, there's a few things and it's common sense that can help you get through them. Like, it's common sense. Just, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel, at least. But like for me or whatever, if you really do, like, I really do believe that Satan plays a part in everyone's life. So, I like haven't drank my wine at the end of each month or anything like that. Just because I'm just like, I don't even know, I just don't want to right now. But so, you know, I graduated finally with a bachelor's degree in 2015, and so that was 5 years ago. And I went straight into law school, and then I graduated law school, and I've taken the bar 3 times and failed all 3 times. It's like last week I just got the results that I failed. And so it's kind of feels like a little bit perverted in a sense, like the effort you had to put into failing, like it just seemed kind of perverted. There's really like, talk about benefits and rewards, like this almost felt like a serial killer coming up to you and being like, hey, I'm not going to kill you, but if you, I don't know, chop off your arms, and then walks away, and I just chopped off my arms. Like, that's kind of how this feels like. You know what I mean? Like, they talk about benefits and rewards, like there really is none to talk about. It's more the opposite. Like, it's almost like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, in what, like, it's just crazy how you could put it into words, really. It's like, it's fucking insane, to tell you the truth. And so like I already kind of, I'm prepared for everything, at least. And it's kind of funny because it's like, say it's Satan, which I think it has something to do with Satan, because it's kind of like, it just doesn't really, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, and it's kind of very dramatic, and you know, it's just silly almost. You know what I'm saying? It's almost silly. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like something maybe like a 5-year-old would write in his or her story. Like, teacher would read it and be like, it just doesn't make sense at all. Like, so yeah. So I spent last week or whatever, and I got the results, and I'm just like, was that Satan's breath blowing on me, his biggest puff? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I mean, I still have common sense, and this shit doesn't make sense. Like, it seems very dramatic, and it's kind of like this weird thing. Like, it doesn't really seem to fit into like reality, as far as the opposite, like how it's so opposite of, or in opposite of, benefits and rewards. Like, it's just so kind of like, I don't know, like, just really weird, I guess. But other people would have a different perspective on it. They would say Satan had nothing to do with it. It's just life. I choose to believe otherwise. It's my belief. Whatever helps you bust that nut, So, yeah, it's just kind of like this dramatic outside thing, really. And if you do believe in spiritual things, and it's like, well, my belief is that Satan had something to do with it. So it's like, Satan obviously didn't just do that to yank his Yankee Doodle. Like Satan probably did that to try to have an effect on me. So, like, that's, you know what I mean? A lot of people probably don't see things like that, because it's like, well, then how do you have common sense? And then how do you, like, you know, live in reality and things like that? And it's like, well, I mean, if you really do put God first, it's kind of like that stuff is kind of first, and like working and making money and supporting yourself, like putting food on the table. And there are 50 states and there's other countries, and it's like, maybe you want to do that, but it's kind of like, first and foremost, you kind of have to protect your heart and your mind and your body and your soul and shit. And like that encompasses God. And if you have to protect something, then it might be Satan that's adversely affecting things. So it's like anything that has like this event that occurred to me is like so out of the ordinary, and it is a negative thing. And it's just like, I've been protecting myself all week and stuff from, any adverse thing, like Satan's huff and puff, like, you know what I'm saying? Because so that's how I see it, really. It's just like, yeah, this thing isn't really gonna get me down. Like a 5-year-old story isn't gonna fucking get me down. Like, no thanks. Like a 5-year-old got to write this event that happened in my life, and and he or she is a retard, and it's like, it's really not gonna affect me. So it's like, I know my worth. Like, I don't think God made me stupid. I don't think God made me lazy. I don't think God made me anything negative. I can choose that, I'm sure, but I don't want to do that. So if I sit here and contemplate on how this 5-year-old tried affected me, like, it's gonna be fucked up. Like, there's no common sense there. So for me, at least, like, from this point forward, I guess I just have to be like, okay, well, I gave Satan about a week to try to affect me with this, and you know what I mean? Like, just in case Satan's out there and is like, oh my God, I'm seeing her throughout the day, and it's like, you don't think Satan's out there when we're out there? Like, if you just experienced road rage, Satan, you go into a gas station, Satan's probably somewhere in that gas station, whether he's invisible or not invisible. I think Satan can take human form. Why wouldn't you think that? If you believe in God and God's infinite and impossible, like infinite and whatever, like Satan probably can take human form too. Why not just think that? So it's just like, I feel like anything that happens to you, Satan's always like, how are they going to react? Like, are they going to go try to find a drug dealer? Because I need to make sure I get my, like my army ready. Like they're about to go to self-destruction and they're making the decision that they want to go to hell or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like things are like that for some people. So it's like, for like, this is the thing that happened to me is like a huge fucking thing, it involves a lot of aspects and all of them are negative things. So it's like, I'm sure Satan was like, the 5-year-old retard that Satan is probably like peeking behind every bush, like, is she even kicking stones right now? You know what I mean? And just like, I honestly, I try to like, I'm saying, hey guy, like, you know, I'm gonna give you 4 or 5 days to watch me have common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a teacher that just read your writing, and I'm gonna show you what the fuck common sense is. Like, I just am. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna react to your story the way you want me to. I'm just not gonna do that. and it's like I'm dealing with a handicapped person, which I think is Satan, and like the next day I could have fucking just been like, all right, I just applied to 100 jobs and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. But obviously Satan really didn't want that. Like Satan's really invested in trying to destroy humans. So it's like Satan just spent a whole lot of time and energy, and it was like the climax and the end of the story almost for Satan, at least when I got those results and it all came to like a head. And I'm just sure like he was sitting there with a chubby and sweating, and there was probably stuff coming from his nipples. You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? Nope, not even gonna do that. I'm actually gonna show you what common sense is. Oh my god, I'm out of paper towels. So maybe somebody that watches this can, you know, if they see any if they get any benefit from this, if it helps them in any way possible, like just make Satan your bitch. Do it for the common good. Make Satan your bitch. That's what I try to do.